Hi kids, one of the fun things we like to do around here at the studio every once in a while is to draw each other as veggie characters. And sometimes I'll even draw people at home like veggie characters or whatever. What the point is that sometimes it's fun to just take our characters and make your own version of our characters. Stuff that you can show and say, hey mom, this is you as a VeggieTale character, or your brother or your sister. So I'm just going to show you just a few little tips as to how to draw your own veggie characters. So join me as I'll show you a few little shortcuts as to like different types of noses, eyes, mouths that you can do. Okay? Okay, keep in mind we have different types of eyes even in this show. You know, sometimes it's just their standard eyes, which are these kind of two egg-like shapes with a nose that you always see drawn. Sometimes, like the peas, it'll just be little black dots. Sometimes I think Madame Blueberry and some of our other characters, they have little narrower eyes. Like that. A quick way to draw a VeggieTale character that's a woman or even a little girl is by adding eyelashes. A lot of times those eyelashes just have two little ends at the end just to show that they're eyelashes. But by and large, I mean those are pretty much the standard for veggie eyes. Noses, however, can take on any type of shape you want. You can have a nose that's round, long with a bump on the end. You can have one that's big and has a little bump on the end. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can put warts on it. You get big ones that flare out, teeny tiny ones if it's a little girl. You know, so these would be just different types of noses you can put in front of any one of these characters. Mouths are pretty simple too. You can even just do a smiley face. You can do a U shape underneath it. If you're drawing a woman, just draw a B shape, a line, and then a U shape. You know, and then you can also have fun with just different types of hair. You know, and look at each person. Like if I'm doing a guy with a part, I'll draw a big shape here, two shapes here, one shape there. The tricky thing with veggie characters is a lot of times your body shapes will only permit you to draw so much clothing. So you got to be careful. When you draw a pea, you know, there's not much you can do other than put a hat on them. Or sometimes we'll put collars on these guys. But, you know, you can do stuff like mustaches. We always draw different types of mustaches on our characters. You know, if you know somebody's got a goatee, make that their mouth, and then one of the other things you can do is just play around with different shapes of characters. Carrots tend to be like this. Bob obviously is like this. Larry is just a little bit more straightforward. He's more round like that. Our pea shapes are like this. They tend to have a little squarish sides to it. You know, of course, you have your characters that are like gourds that are like that. You know, but these are some basic shapes you can just kind of play around with. You know, sometimes you're just going to want to just do like a really thin character like that. There's also, you know, your junior asparagus, which has his body's kind of like that. You know, and his dad, you know, you just make taller, you know. Lunt is kind of like that. You know, so you just kind of play around with them, and then you can put clothing on them. You know, you can put a dress on them. You know, whatever you want. All right, so here's the next phase in the process here. What we're going to do is we're actually going to take those VeggieTales shapes and we're going to apply them to the real people you know. So Katie here is somebody I work with, and she has volunteered to be drawn as a vegetable. And we're going to take a shot at that. So I'm going to kind of look at Katie and try to use those shapes that I just showed you and try to make a VeggieTale character that looks something like her. Okay, so Katie is slimmer, so what we're going to do for slimmer people, it's very easy to draw the basic carrot shape. Okay, and so with Katie also, she's got dark eyes, so what I'll do for that, and we do this for guys and girls, is draw almost put the pea eyes on the carrot. You'll see that in a lot of our characters in the backgrounds. And she's got kind of a small nose, so we're going to put just a little tiny nose on her. Okay, and I'm putting in those highlights for her eyes. And she's a girl, so we're going to put that smile in, and then we're going to put that B shape for the lips, and the U shape for the mouth. Okay, now the next thing, the thing that's really going to sell it, is kind of look at her hair. And she's got a ponytail, but she's got a front part of her ponytail kind of comes out and swoops. So what I'm going to do is draw that swoop, but then also draw the back part of the ponytail, and this side swoops too a little bit. And since she's wearing a ponytail, I'll just draw a little ponytail. Even though her ponytail is more in the back, just for the sake of you being able to see it, I'm going to draw it in the front like that. And she's got kind of a t-shirt on and jeans. So jeans are sometimes a trick with characters because they don't have legs, right? Actually, and I'm going to put some eyebrows on her too. She's got kind of prominent eyebrows. So instead of giving her full jeans, we'll give her like a jean skirt. Probably make that nose even smaller. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some red first. I'm going to go into it with a warmer red. And then we'll paint in the lips. Now again, what I'll do is I'll just go in and just darken things up just a little bit because certain things got lost. Katie's hair is kind of a blonde brown, so I'm going to start off with the brown. I'll throw in some yellow. Because it's the summertime and everybody's trying to get their hair nice and light. You gotta watch out, you go to the tanning bed too much, this is the color you'll turn into. Okay. Alright, so let's get some brown for her shirt. And for her jeans, we'll just go for kind of a blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to darken those lines up a little bit. Okay, and so, you know, we basically have just a rough drawing of Katie as a VeggieTale character. And that's Katie as a VeggieTale character. So you try it with your own friends and see what you can get up to. Hi, welcome to another round of how to draw a VeggieTale character of your very own. I got my buddy Jim here. Jim's a good friend of mine, so he's graciously volunteered to be drawn as a gourd.
A decorative gourd.
A decorative gourd. And we're just going to have a lot of fun and try to make them laugh when we're done with this thing. All right, so we're going to start off by drawing the basic gourd shape, which is kind of like this. Well, Jim's got some cool hair. He's got some kind of long kind of hair that kind of just comes out and swoops up. So, for me, in my opinion, the hair is the key. So I'm really just looking at Jim's hair and going, all right, what is it kind of doing? And then I'm just kind of turning it into simple shapes. That's the first thing, because, you know, normally you'd start with their center line, but, you know, this time around I said, got to get that hair. So Jim's hair kind of comes back a little bit. It's a little rougher than our other ones, but that's all right. Then we're gonna go with the little pea eyes on Jim. He's got some heavier eyebrows, so we're just gonna go with that. His nose kind of comes out a little bit, so we're gonna give him kind of a rounder nose, kind of like that. Got a little birthmark up here and a little one over here. Okay, so we're gonna just kind of put some teeth in there for Jim. And Jim's wearing a t-shirt right now, so we're gonna just kind of put his t-shirt on. Put a little logo on his t-shirt, like a little flame. All right, and then we're just gonna keep the bottom part of him exposed a little bit like that. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and we're gonna color stuff. Gonna get his hair first, kind of a dark brown. We'll make his nose just a little bit. Sometimes we make our noses just a little bit more of a different color than the rest of the body, because his body I'm going to make is, again, we're going to go with an orange gourd, kind of like Jimmy. Let's darken in those eyes. we're going to make his little flame on his shirt orange too. And the shirt he's wearing is kind of white, so what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of gray and just put just a little bit of shadow on one side. Put some lines on the top of the shirt. Shadow on the other side. And then the under part of him, we got to make sure that shows up as being orange too. Yeah, what I'm going to do now is just kind of throw a little bit of shadow into him. Now I'm just going to actually go in and just darken some of these lines. And blammo, we got Jim as a VeggieTale character. So if we ever need a Jim character in a show, I know where to turn. I'm just going to sign that. Joe, age 29. Here's Jim.
Oh, wow.
As
great.
A gourd. So you can have a lot of fun with it. You know, you can do it for your friends, your family, and what are you going to do with that, Jim?
I'm going to hang it on my refrigerator.
All right. Well, the fridge will be full at your house. See you later, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Hi everyone, Bob the Tomato here. This is Joe Spataford. He's a concept artist at Big Idea. His job is to create many of the places and characters in our shows. Today he's going to show you how to draw Junior Asparagus as Darby.
Hi, welcome to the Wizard of Oz, how to draw Darby. Now I'm Joe Spataford, the art director of this film, and we're going to draw Darby. Now Darby's Junior, but dressed up to look a little bit like Dorothy, only no ponytails. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead right at it and draw Darby and Junior mixed into one. Well, first thing we're going to do, we're going to break down big shapes. He's a cylinder, but for this case we'll just draw a square. We'll indicate where the top of his, he has kind of like this clump on the top of his head of smaller little circles, because he's an asparagus, and that's what asparagus have. And then I'm going to indicate with a bit of a triangle, and also actually think of it more as a cone shape that you would see on the side of the road, one of those orange cones, just indicating what his hat would look like. And his hat actually has some dimples in it too, a little bit like Minnesota Cuke's hat. Okay, so we're just gonna block in real roughly the way his hat's gonna look. And you can actually draw through the back of his hat just to make sure there's enough room. Okay, now I'm gonna draw a center line. And the one thing we need to know about Junior is that his eyes are big on his body. Okay, so his eyes are pretty big. Now I'm going to indicate his nose. His mouth kind of slides off to the side a little bit. So I'm going to indicate that. I'm going to draw two triangle shapes. His shirt has got a little bit of an S shape to it. He's got suspenders, which are square shapes. Just put a little circle. And then we're going to indicate the circles on top of his head. Okay, now I'm gonna go into his eyes and just make 2 ellipses, which are circles that kind of tilt inwards a little bit. And I'm gonna draw 2 other little circles in there to show highlights. Alright, so now that's the basic building blocks of the character. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to treat it a little differently this time around. I'm going to start coloring. Take this green and I go right into his body. I'm going to draw everything that I know is green. Just make it all green. Then what you can do is you can take a lighter shade of green and go right on top of it. And you can even get fancy and add a little bit of a blue so you can create a shadow side to them. Which I'm probably actually going to put a little bit of green on top of that too. So hold on. I'm going to draw this blue in there first. It looks weird at first, but trust me, once you start getting the blue on top, or the green on top, it makes a lot more sense as to why you're doing it. And if it's looking a little weird right now, it's okay, because I'll show you something we're going to do in a second here that's going to make it come together. Now I'm going to take some blue and go into his shirt. Now he's got this checkered pattern, kind of like Dorothy had a checkered outfit on. Suspenders are a red color. So I'm going to take a red and draw that right in. Now I'm going to actually take an orange and a yellow. Put those in there. All right. See, I think we can get a little bit more red with that suspender. Just going to go and get a nice yellow kind of color here. Go over the whole thing. You're going to use a lot of crayon up on this guy. You can hardly see this, I know. I'm actually going to go with a little bit of a darker orange. Okay, so we got the orange in there. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to push it a little further, just with a little bit of a brown. Now actually what we can do, I'll put a little bit of a brown up there too, and we're going to throw that brown into that hat band he has. And he's got overalls that are kind of a blue color here. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring everything together with a nice black line. I'm going to bring that, going to bring in his eye shapes. Bring out his nose. The underside of his shirt, his pants, that big smile that Darby has, especially when he sees the Land of Oz. I mean, Haas. Gonna get some of these circles in here that kind of got lost when I colored it dark. I'm gonna draw some of these flary shapes that are in the hat. Just do some zigzag lines. Okay, now just to finish it off, I'm just going to take a little bit of a blue shade, kind of put it on the side here just to make him pop a little bit. And put a line down the middle just to show the middle of his eyes. And as always, we're going to sign our name to it. Joe, age 29. Next time you guys see me, it'll be age 30. So thanks again, and I appreciate you guys watching. I hope to see you again next time, and keep drawing.
Hi everyone, Bob the Tomato here. This is Chuck Vollmer. He's a senior concept artist at Big Idea. He paints many of the beautiful backgrounds you see in our shows. Today he's going to show you how to draw Larry as the Tin Man.
Hi, I'm Chuck Vollmer. I'm the senior visual development artist here at Big Idea, and we're going to do a how to draw today of Larry as the Tin Man. So I hope you have your crayons and pencils ready, and we'll get started. Normally when I start drawing Larry, I like to start out with just a general oval shape, usual oval cucumber shape. I stay fairly loose right now and light with my pencil marks. I try not to get too dark right away, and we can get darker as we finish him up. I like to put down a center line down where the middle of his face will be, and this just kind of helps me with the placement of his eyes. Put his eyes in. And Larry's eyes are basically just larger ovals. You've got the smaller ovals for his pupils, and then the larger ovals for the whites of his eyes. And his nose sits right in here between the two ovals of the whites of his eyes. Now, Larry as the Tin Man has a longer nose. He's got a piece of tin, or like a small tin funnel that sits on his nose. And it's kind of a triangular shape, and it has a few seams in it, like this. And just below his nose is his mouth. We're going to make Larry smile. Put in Larry's tooth. It's basically a square shape, like so. And Larry's a Tin Man. He's got a piece of metal that looks like a large metal jaw. And so we're going to put that in. It sits just below his mouth, and we kind of make it kind of a curved shape. It kind of comes up like a jawbone, like so. And then the main suit that Larry's wearing as the Tin Man is basically a potbelly stove. And so we're going to draw kind of a circle shape around his midsection. like so. And this is the basic shape of the potbelly stove, and it flares up a little bit in the back, like so. And this is kind of like the collar in the back. And then at the bottom we have a bit of a base from the stove, and it just wraps around the bottom of the circle shape. And then we have a little bit of Larry sticking out the bottom. Now in the middle of the potbelly stove, we have the little door. And the door is kind of a curved square. It's got slightly curved on the sides and on the top. And we can put some little squares here on the side to indicate the hinges. And then put a little handle in here. And a couple little vents. Again, just little oval shapes. And at the bottom of the potbelly stove, we have some small leg shapes. And it's kind of like a circle and a circle. You got the larger circle up top with a smaller circle as the actual foot of the stove. So we can do that again over here. And now we need to put the hat on him. And the hat is like a tin funnel. And we'll start out with a circular oval shape. We're going to tilt it off to the side just to give him a little character. We're then going to put in kind of a triangle shape. Like so. And then the little spout for the funnel. So there we have his hat, and then we'll add the little finger piece for the funnel. Now we have everything kind of roughed out. We've roughed out all the general shapes and what they are. And now what we can do is, if you have your box of crayons with you, we can take your crayons and we can start going in and putting in the details and darkening things up, and then we can start to color it. So what we can do now is, again, I like to kind of start in the same place as I started the line drawing. We'll go in and we'll darken in his pupils. And we lightly go in, bring out his eye shapes a little bit more. We can go in here on the under part of his nose. We can go a little darker. And then on the top part, maybe just a little lighter. And that's going to help you, give you a little sense of top and bottom. What we'll do now is we'll go ahead and put in the seams on the nose. We're going to go ahead now and outline out Larry with our crayons. We can start adding little details. Larry is a Tin Man. We actually painted a seam on his body to make him feel more metal-like. We can add that as well. And on his jaw, we can go ahead and add the bolts to his jaw piece. Start on his potbelly stove part of his body. And once you've got him completely outlined just the way you like, you can then go ahead and start taking some colors and filling them in. And this is where you can really have some fun and loosen up a little bit and really add your own creative touch to it. Because he is tin, I'm going to make him mostly silver gray here. And you can go right on top of the lines you've already put down. It won't hurt anything. And I'm also going to add a little bit of orange just to kind of indicate maybe some rust, because he was outside and he was all frozen up because of the rain. So you can kind of add a little bit of orange or yellow if you'd like, just to kind of give him that little bit of a rusty feel. You can use all kinds of colors, a little bit of blues in there, that'll be fun. You can go back in even with the black if you want, just to add some shadows if you'd like. You can add a few shadows here, a few more places, and I think that'll do it. Well, thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll come back again soon sometime and draw some more with us.
Hi everyone, Bob the Tomato here. This is Joe Spataford. He's a concept artist at Big Idea. His job is to create many of the places and characters in our shows. Today he's going to show you how to draw Pa Grape as the lion.
Hi, welcome to another How to Draw. Well, today we've got a first in VeggieTale history. We've actually turned a grape into a lion. And I'll show you exactly how we do that with this character, the lion from Wizard of Oz. So here we go, Pa Grape as a lion? Okay. All right, so here we go. Easy start. First thing we do is we draw Pa Grape the way we'd always draw Pa Grape. It's a normal day in Pa Grape's life. Draw a center line, a nose, indicate his eyes, which are circles, because they're glasses. Kind of make him a little squat. Okay, then we're going to draw his eyebrows, which are more or less zigzag lines. Mustache. And an open mouth. Now that's Pa Grape looking normal pretty much. But what we're going to do to him now is we're going to put a mohawk on him. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take his hair and make it zap around to the front. Almost like he's got big sideburns. But it's actually his mane, because he's a lion. So you draw a square, sometimes this will help. You draw a square on the side. Now it's almost like big Elvis sideburns almost. Okay, now we're going to draw some square shapes for ears. And inside those squares we'll have another square. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to indicate these little triangles. I'm going to indicate with these lines out here that he's got, this is actually hair. Almost like they're peeled slices of bread or cheese or something that go around his head. This is a fur patch that goes around the base of him. And yeah, you're going to throw a tail on the guy. He's a lion. Okay, so now we've completely thrown Pa Grape into a loop because we've turned him into normal ordinary Pa Grape into the lion Pa Grape. So let's color this guy. Well, lions are kind of yellowish, aren't they? Just a little bit. So let's throw that yellow in there first. And we're going to throw a little bit of orange into him too. He's got a pink nose. Take kind of a blue-gray and indicate some glasses here. Forgot to draw, we're going to draw a little bit of a tooth. Pa's got a tooth. Draw in his mouth. He's got a little fang. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw lines going out so it looks like hair. Now I'm going to add a little bit of color to that hair. Simply by adding a little bit of an orange to it. Can't forget his tail. His tail, we can actually throw a little bit of yellow in. Going into a little bit of brown. There we go here. And his actual tail. Now, like what we've been doing all times before, is we're going to take a nice black and we're going to come over the top, and instead of, like before, even in one of our earlier episodes, I used to draw the black line first. I'm finding that drawing the black line second, especially when you're working with crayons, helps to work a little bit better because it doesn't get as smeary. So there we go. So I'm just bringing the drawing out a little bit more. What I'll do in those areas where I went dark is I'll actually go a little bit darker with my pencil, just to show this is, I should say my crayon, to show that this is where things get darker. Okay, and like before, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of blue. And sometimes you can have fun. I'm going to put Joe, age, let's just say I'm 110 now, because why not? Okay, well, hey, I had a great time drawing with you today, and I hope you come back and draw with us again. And if you have any drawings that you want to send in to VeggieTales, please feel free. Thanks again, and have a good day. Hi, this is Joe Spadiford, and me and my friends here are going to draw Elliot, and otherwise known as Larry. You guys ready to do that? Yeah. All right, let's get an ARG. ARG. All right, so here we go with drawing Elliot. Okay, so Elliot is Larry. Larry is always started off by drawing a long kind of circular shape. That's about the basic shape of Larry. Okay, so it's like he took a circle and stretched it. All right, and just very delicately, I'm going to draw in just a little bit of a cross shape in there, just so I know where his eyes are going to be. And right where the cross meets, I'm going to draw a circle. VeggieTale eyes are kind of really important to get right. They're kind of like an egg shape. They're not a perfect circle. And one is oftentimes bigger than the other. All right, inside the eyes, we actually have these other two little circles, just like humans have. And inside those little circles, we're going to put two more circles. This is going to be where the highlights, where light hits the eye, it's going to make the eye look like it's shiny. All right. Now with this character, he's got a beard, he's got a goatee, just like a pirate has. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to block in his goatee, and that's kind of like a horseshoe shape. So I'm going to just draw it in real basic before I get out into all the little tiny little shapes that are inside it. Okay, so now he's just Larry with a big mustache. All right, and now we're going to draw another U shape, which is his mouth. You know, Larry's always kind of smiley. And what does Larry have? He's got one tooth, right? So I'm going to draw that one tooth in there. All right, so the next thing is the bottom of his goatee, and that I'm just going to draw just another real simple shape, just another simple U shape, keeping it really, really simple right now. Now the next thing is he's got a bandana in this film because he's a pirate, and that's one of the things pirates wear. Everybody here seems to be wearing a bandana, so just like you, Larry's going to have a bandana. And by doing that, I just make a line across the top, make another line over here. That just makes it look like it's creased, like the fabric folds a little bit. And I'm just going to draw a little circle right over there on the side of his head, and that's going to be like where a knot is. And then I'm going to make an S shape and a C shape on top of that S shape. See how it's kind of a C, and this is an S? And you can do that twice. One can be longer than the other. We'll just hide the other kind of shape. And Larry has an eye patch. So that eye patch, it's not quite a circle. It's more like a square. And we're going to draw that square in right there. Pops up, boing, like that. Then we're just going to draw a line that goes across. It's kind of a diagonal line, goes right across the side. And that's where that band goes on Larry. Larry didn't put it straight across his head. He put it kind of on top of his head. All right, so now let's get to drawing his outfit. His outfit starts just a little bit below his goatee. And the best thing to do is to block in the belt. Now, Larry's got a big fat belt with a big, big belt buckle. And that belt buckle isn't entirely square. It kind of comes up. So it's like you took a square and you just stretched the corner a little bit. But it's round. And inside it, we're just going to copy that same shape inside. And then we're just going to draw this little other square right inside. And then on the other side of his belt, we're going to draw a U shape. And that U shape is going to be the other side of his belt. Let's just put some belt circles in there. All right, now he's got a collar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine I'm drawing around the whole shape of Larry. And in the middle of his collar, there's a V shape. So you can put the V shape in. You can put the V shape in first if you wanted to. All right, so I got the collar in there. Then I'm going to draw a little bit of an S shape. That just shows the side of his fabric that goes off the side of his belt. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So this time we're just going to flare it out just below his belt. And there's a bottom V shape. So I just drew that in first. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is Larry actually has a bit of a sword. And this one is a wooden sword. So he can't really hurt anybody. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the top of the square in for the top of the shape. Then I'm going to just draw this L shape right at the bottom. And then I'm going to draw another square shape right here. And we can even put another side. It's almost like you're copying this side on the bottom. That makes it look like it's a little bit thick. Then we're just going to make two lines that just go down. Okay. The last thing Larry has is on the side of him, he's got a pouch. All right, we're going to make that real simple by drawing a square, and then on top of the square, we're just going to draw this line that kind of curves down and goes straight up. And why don't we just put a button in there? He's actually got a little flap that comes off of that too. Okay, so now that we're about done blocking in what Larry looks like, we're going to take a little break. I want everybody here to just think about their drawings and try to finish them up. And then you can come back and we can color them. All right, everybody, let's continue. And we're going to color Elliot or Larry. Right, guys? Gals? Okay. Or pirates? All right. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go to all those lines I already drew and just kind of color over the top of them with a darker version of the color I know I'm going to use inside it. So yeah, I see I'm starting off just by it's a good idea to keep your crayon sharp. A lot of these crayon boxes have little pencil sharpeners, or you can get your mom to sharpen them up for you. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just going to darken in the colors. So I'm just going to go to him and just going to darken in some greens. Okay, so we got that there. Draw the underside of him. So he's got some green under there. I'm going to go for a lighter brown for his outfit. Let's see here. And I'm going to throw a little bit of red in. And we know he doesn't have a white beard, so we're going to want to put some brown into that too, right? Okay, and the top of his little eye patch is black. So now the last thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of go over everything just real quick with a darker blue or a darker green, just to make things read a little bit better, just to push things a little bit more. You can even go with, if you wanted to, you can even go with a little bit of black. And the last thing I like to do, just to pop the character out, it's okay to just add a little bit of a background. And what I do, I always do, and I think everybody should do it, is to sign your artwork. I sign my name, Joe, age, I'm 29, guys. Can you believe that? Okay, and so that's how we would draw Larry as Elliot, and I hope everybody had a good time today drawing with me, and I hope all you kids at home are going to practice it and keep trying. The more you do it, the more you'll get better at it. Thanks again. I'm Joe Spatterford.
Hey there, I'm Tim Hodge. I want to welcome you today. We're going to learn how to draw the Princess Eloise. So I want you to pull up a chair, grab a pencil and some paper, join me and my new pirate friends, and sit back, take a deep breath, and let's draw. Ready? Let's go. Okay, first of all, I like to start drawing very loose and light. That way if you make a little mistake, you can fix it later without erasing too much. I'm going to draw her head, which is not quite a perfect circle, and I'm going to rough in her body here, just kind of this onion stalk. And then let's start with her eyes. Now Eloise, brave Princess Eloise, has big bright eyes, and they're not circles either. They're kind of this egg shape. And notice I made this one overlap the other one. It looks like it's in front of it a little bit, right? Because she's standing with her head just slightly turned. I'm going to go ahead and draw her nose in the middle. Her nose looks like a letter C. If you know your alphabet, you can draw pretty well. It's just like a little gumdrop shape sitting on her face. And Eloise has these big, bright pupils, and she's very happy to see us. So there, and leave a little highlight, leave like a little circle of light in their eye where the sun is reflecting. Let's give her some eyelashes. Do Eloise's eyelashes, just thicken up this line on top of her eye and draw this little curved shape off to the side where it comes to a little point. And do the same thing on the other side. Now you notice when I'm drawing her, I usually draw one eye then the other, then I drew the eyelash and go back and forth. I do the same thing one to the other. That helps me make sure that both eyes look the same. Well, close anyway. There, those are some nice happy eyes because she is very happy to visit us today. But of course, to make sure we know she's happy, we're going to put a big smile on her face. So we're going to draw a slight curved line just coming up here, and then one underneath it too. And she's showing a little pink tongue there. Okay, Eloise pulls her hair back and it's parted in the middle. Let's start drawing a little bit bigger than her head. Curved line all the way around here. And then kind of curve the other way. And I draw a few lines in here where her hair is swept back, and then on the other side too. But she's got this one little piece of hair. We're going to draw two little curved lines like this. This one little bit that won't stay back, it just keeps popping out. And I gave her earrings too, these little pearl earrings, because since she's a vegetable, she doesn't have ears. So if I give her earrings, it kind of helps give us a little landmark where our face is put together. Okay, Now, of course, you know she has long hair. She has little ringlets in the back. She has 7 little ringlets in the back of her head, little curls that hang down. But of course, they're behind her, so we can't see them all. But we'll draw a few. And the way to do that is draw these 2 almost straight lines. Have them curve out just a little bit, and then just the bottom of it right there. And one's peeking out here, and another one there, and then we can see 1, 2, 4 of them from here. And you can even draw some little lines on here to make it look like they're rounded. Does that look like little ringlets banging behind her head? And you probably remember her hair is pulled back and tied with a bow. But of course we can't see all of it because it's behind her too. So we'll just draw part of this bow that's tying her hair back. Big, poofy hair ribbon. There, how's that look? Okay, now let's put her fancy dress on her. It comes up pretty close to her chin here, the little neck of it here, and she has like little lacy collar. I like making just these little like flower petals all around it. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow underneath her chin there. All right, and if we come down, and now we can start darkening these lines in a little bit more. I come a little bit wider than what her body shape was. And not quite halfway down her body, just a little bit higher, is where her waist is. She's got a little ribbon that wraps right around her waist. And then her skirt. It's like this big hoop skirt, that old-fashioned kind that they wore in pirate days. And it's not quite all the way down to the floor. We still see the bottom of her foot pod body down there. And the front of her dress has it's not really an apron, but it's like this lighter colored area. So we'll draw the lines down here. It's like this panel of cloth that's a different, slightly lighter color. And she's got another ribbon here in the back. You can see a little bit more of it because her waist is a lot narrower than her head was. And the same shapes here, just like up here where we had these big loopy shapes, we can draw that ribbon tying that sash right behind her. In fact, we can see a little bit of it on this side too. And even see some of the ribbon coming down behind where it would tie. There would probably be 2 of those, but the other one's hidden behind her. There. All right, I'm going to give you a chance to catch up, so why don't you hit pause on your DVD player until you've caught up with your drawing, and then when you're ready to go, hit play and we'll color Eloise in, all right? All right, let's color Eloise in, all right? Well, let's start at the top and work down so we don't smear it with our hands. Eloise has blonde hair, so we're going to get our yellow colored pencil here. Or if you want to use crayons, that's fine too. And I like to use the side of the pencil. This covers more at once. When you use the point, it just kind of digs in and makes lines, but we're coloring in big areas. And I've got a pencil here, it's a little bit darker yellow, and I can put some, we can make a couple different shades of blonde. Maybe put some shadows on here too, like underneath where this part of her hair would be having a shadow cast on it. There. And yellow hair looks really good with green skin. Because after all, she's a veggie. And what I like to do too, I imagine the light coming in on her face right here, because especially we saw these reflections where the light was. So I'm going to color the other side just a little bit darker. And see how that creates a shadow? It helps her face look a little rounder. Put a little shadow under her nose there too. Because the light's on top, there's always a shadow underneath. And she is all tied up in pink ribbons. Of course, if you want her to have blue ribbons or any other color ribbons, whatever your favorite color is, you can do whatever you feel like. But I think she feels in a pink mood today. There. Our dress she wears is usually kind of this gold and white, so it's going to take my yellow pencil here and very lightly color it in, because since she's on white paper, it's hard to get make it look really, really white. So just very lightly color her in. There. And as a finishing touch, let's put a little shadow underneath her too. Make her look like she's really standing on the deck of a ship. How's that? So there we go. That wasn't so hard, was it? So take that, give it to your mom or dad, and they'll put it up on the refrigerator for a while. So thanks for joining me and all my pirate friends, and we'll see you next time, all right?
He's really a gourd, and his body actually, really this is his body, because he actually is sitting in it's sort of like a powder keg that you see on a pirate ship. And because he invents things, he took a keg and built a body for himself. So we'll rest his head, his body, into that keg, and then we'll start putting the arms and legs on it. So because he's an inventor, he built everything for his body. So he has like a gear on this side, and then he's got this metal arm that comes out of that metal gear, and there's his elbow, and we're going to put his hands on his hips. So this piece in here is another piece of metal, and then because he's only got one hand, he has one glove on that hand. And we put that on his hip right there. And then on this side, there's another metal gear here, and on that is it's a piece of wood actually. Looks like it came off of an old chair leg that he found, and so he put that on there to make his arm, and on the end of that arm he put a claw. He's got this weird looking claw thing that he uses as another hand. So that goes there, and then it attaches here. And then his legs are attached to the bottom of the barrel there, of the keg. And on this side, he's got like a metal cylinder, like an old stovepipe or something that he used. He's just a mix of different parts. Then he's got another metal piece here, and his boot is on that. He's got one foot on this side. And then on this side, he's got another where his other leg is attached, and it's another metal circle thing with actually it looks like a car spring or something for his knee. So it bends in the middle there, and that's attached to another piece of metal. He's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't he? So here, and then for his peg leg, he's got another round wheel shape here, and then it drops down to the wooden leg with a little cap on it. So for his face, usually split it about halfway and put his nose. He's got like an oval shape for the nose, and then he's got these sort of mean-looking brows because he's the bad guy, so he's always got to look like he's tough. And he's got this mean eyes. I have him looking. And then he always sort of frowns in the show, but we'll have him kind of do a little smile there so he doesn't scare you guys too bad. And then we have he's got like a long beard that hangs down, and then his hat's like a big triangle, big pirate hat. So you kind of go with that basic shape, and then we'll just draw a pirate's hat out of that. It's got a couple of tears in it because it's pretty old. And then we put his clothes on, because see, we forgot to put his clothes on him. So we put the clothes on after we
get his body drawn. And then he's got a thing here, a belt look, it's sort of like a big belt buckle thing that comes around. So let me get my other pencil here. So here we go. So that was just sort of my rough drawing. I did that pretty fast. And now I'm just going to black it in for you so you can see him a little bit better. So there is his beard again. Got the hairs that hang down. And he's got these little bumps on his face. Maybe they're warts, I don't know. He's a gourd, maybe it's just bad spots on his fruit. He's got those buttons there. And then here's his gear, has these little cogs in it. And then his arm. And then he's got these fancy designs. And then his, there we go. See, there's that belt buckle. And then that strap that wraps around him. And then here's his coat. And he's got these buttons on the coat. And then we'll show where the barrel is there, with his powder keg body. And then we got the hat, and then he's got the pirate symbol in here, right there, right? And it's like a couple of wrenches. Look at that. And there we go. Okay. There's Robert the Pirate. And why don't we take a break and we'll do some color on him. Would you like to see that? Yeah. So once you come back and we'll add some color to Robert the Pirate. Okay, we're going to add some color to Robert now. So we're going to make him green, like a gourd. Color his face, all green. And then, oh, he looks kind of sick, doesn't he? And then he's got like this little bit darker color here, doesn't he? On his brows, almost like eyebrows up here, a little bit darker. Oh, his bandana, he's got a red scarf that he wears under here. Keep his head covered up there with a hat that sits on top of it. And then he's got the brown hair that kind of sticks out here, little tufts on the side. And then we have his pirate hat that he wears, and that is sort of the same kind of brown color. But you can color him any way you like if you're drawing. And then his coat is sort of the same brown. And then he's got this beard that's brown. I guess all bad guys wear dark colors, don't they? And then we have that belt, that leather strap that wraps around his body there. I think that holds his jacket on.
What about his brown barrel?
His brown barrel, yep, you're right. Let me get his brown barrel here. The powder keg, right? What do they keep in a powder keg?
Powder.
Powder. Gunpowder, right?
Right.
That's what they used to put in the cannons. A little bit more black here. A little here. Ooh. I think I'm almost done here. Look at there. Then we have a little more.
Sword.
Oh, I got to color his sword. I almost forgot, didn't I? And his sword is... kind of smooth that in, make it look a little nicer. Look at that. And then we'll color that brown, maybe add some...
What about the other side of his sword?
This side? We'll just leave that. That's where the blade is. There we go. Some details in there. Nice little swirls. Okay. Well, I think we are done. Okay. Well, there you go. That's how you draw Robert the Pirate. Thanks for joining me and my group, and we'll see you next time.
Hi everyone, I'm Chuck Volma from Big Idea. My crew here and I were going to draw the rock monster from the pirate film. Alright, let's get started. We're going to be drawing the little girl rock monster from the Island of Walking Rocks. And the top of her head is pretty small. Her jawline is the biggest part of her head. But her overall head shape is almost like a triangle. So we can draw that out like so. She has two small little eyes. And with the shape of this lower jaw, it gives the impression that she's smiling. And then what we can do is, since she's a rock, we can use little shapes that are supposed to be like cracks, but they're actually like her eyebrows. On top of her head, so that we can distinguish that she's a little girl, is she has two small trees that are growing on top of her head. And they look like pigtails, or maybe broccoli. Like so. And now her body shape is very similar to her head shape, like so. Her body shape is also supposed to look a little bit like a dress. So it just comes out, flares out a little bit like so, to kind of look like a dress. The other rock monsters have more of a regular body. That was another way we distinguished her from the boys. And from underneath her dress are her feet. She's got some big feet. They're almost like tubes that come out. Like so. And we just draw a little arched line like this, and then that'll give the feeling of her toes. I think she really only has maybe one toe, one big toe. There's her feet. And again, since she's a rock, you can have some fun and maybe just put some little cracks in her in a few places. You can put them really anywhere you want, have some fun with it. And then that helps give you, again, the feeling that she's a rock. And that's why when the characters get to the island at first, they don't realize that they're actually alive. Now we'll make her arms. Her arms will start out kind of small up here by her shoulders and will flare out and get larger as they come out. Like this. We'll put her elbow joints in. Can you make kind of a slight curve shape for her elbow? And for her hands, she only has 4 fingers. She has a thumb. Okay, make her thumb kind of an oval or egg shape, like that. And then again, kind of another oval shape, repeated for her fingers. And then we go over here to the other side, and we'll do the same thing again. We can also, if you want, we can just make little circles here and there, and that just makes it, again, gives us kind of the feel of a rock. Little marks in the stone, things like that. All right, we can stop here and let everyone catch up, and we'll start coloring next. All right, let's color the character in. I'm starting out with kind of a gray pencil. I'm just real loosely kind of blocking in just a real light gray color. Give her an overall kind of gray appearance. In the movie, because the rocks lay around a lot, they start to get some moss growing on them. So I'm going to take some green and just every little bit here and there add some green to her. And also add some green to the trees on her head. Next, I'm going to put some warmer colors, some warm browns and yellows in as well. Rocks can be all kinds of colors, so you can use whatever colors you like the most, so you don't have to feel like you have to do it just like mine. I'm being pretty loose with this, and if you want, when you're all done putting in the color, you can also go back with your darker pencil or crayon, and you can bring back out some of the line work that you did at the beginning. All right, I'm just going to go back with my black pencil again and just darken up a few areas just to make those a little darker. You can also, if you'd like, you can go ahead and add sand for the beach where she lives. And you can add all kinds of things to it. You can have a lot of fun with this. All right, well, thank you for joining me today and my crew, and I hope you had a good time drawing the rock monster, and I hope you join us again. Thanks.
Welcome to the How to Draw section. Watch artist Joe Spataford draw the character Abe.
Hi everybody, I'm Joe Spataford. Welcome to another How to Draw. Today we're going to be focusing on a drawing on Abe from Abe and the Amazing Promise, which I'm hoping you saw and you liked. So as you know, he's Pa Grape and he's dressed up in Middle Eastern apparel. Apparel means clothes. So, all right, well, let's get right to it and let's have some fun. Okay, so Pa, as you know, is a circle. He's a grape, so we'll start off just by drawing a circle. Now I'm using a purple here just to start off, just as a base color, just to figure everything out. Now, Abraham in the story has a band around his head and wears a turban. There's probably another name for it, but I'm just going to call it a turban for now. And at the top of it, the top of the turban, just think of like a C shape, because it kind of has a weird fold at the top. It's kind of like a sailor's hat, an old sailor's hat at the top. Kind of swishy, you know. And then we're going to make an S shape that's going to kind of come in and go out. So think about that being like the letter S. We're going to do the same thing over here. And here, we're going to do another S shape. It's going to come down here and do the same over there. S. Okay, now what I'm going to do is draw the bottom of his cloak, and then I'm going to imagine it going behind him. Okay, so now we got the initial drawing of just where that turban is going to be. So from there, I'm going to just move into drawing Pa. So you imagine the middle of him as being right here. So I'm going to block in where his nose is going to go. I'm going to block in where his glasses are. Okay. From there, he's got a little dot here, like a Robert De Niro kind of little freckle, a little mole or something. Then we're going to draw his mustache. He's got a mustache that curls. So it's just another S shape. At the bottom, we'll have some zigzags. That's how we're going to draw the mustache. So just remember these S shapes and zigzags and swooshes, kind of like that. All right, now I got to draw his beard because he has a beard too. So his beard has about 3 points in the middle. It kind of comes down and comes up to a few more zigzags at the top. Again, on this side, draw another kind of C shape that ends in some zigzags on the top. Okay, so that's going to be the basis for the beard, and then there'll be lines that are going to come down that show that actually is a beard and this is a mustache. Just little tricks. And Pa, of course, has eyebrows. Always has, always will. Even when he was a lion. Let's see, so we're going to draw those. We're going to draw those zigzags at the top and kind of a straight line at the bottom. And his character has on the side of his turban these lines. So right now, this is probably where would be a point where I'd say, okay, now let's actually block this in and start coloring it and start bringing out features. Oh, and one more thing. I don't know how I forgot this. Abe's got a staff too. He's an old guy, so he's got to walk around in the desert, and so he needs a cane. So just think of it like a straight line and some kind of squiggly lines on this side, and then just put one little bump over here. Okay, so now we've blocked it all in, and he has no mouth, so let's give him a mouth. All right, so now he's got a mouth. Okay, so now we're going to just start blocking in some color. Let's start with green. So I'm going to just start using the side. Normally I do a lot of my coloring on the computer. I don't want it to be totally even, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring a little bit of blue to where I think there'd be a little bit of shadow happening. I'm not going to get too crazy here. But if you mix blue and green, it gets you a darker shade of green. Like I said, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to shade everything for you. You can do that, though. You can push the shadows as far as you'd like. And we'll get one more pass here. Just going to push it a little darker over some of these areas here, just to bring certain things out. Okay, so now his nose is purple. So we've already got a purple color, so let's just give it a nice solid purple line around it. Leave some room for those glasses to pop in there. Might be a good idea to just block in those glasses right now. As you can see, I'm just pushing a little bit harder now just to block in those glasses. And I just noticed I'd forgotten to paint the green underneath his eye. Okay, so now that we've got that figured out, I can start putting the purple in his nose. All right, so that's his nose. All right, let's get his turban. Leave that cane he has alone. Go to the top of the head. Try to do your best to match your original drawing, but yeah, you'll make mistakes. Like I'm drawing quick here, so I'm going to be making plenty. Then I'm going to go in there with a lighter brown because he's got kind of an off-white turban. And as I color over things, some of these lines get hidden. My original tracing lines that I was trying to figure out where things go, they get hidden. So that can be a good thing. Okay, so let's just gonna put a little bit of color in that. All right, so now I'm going to go into his headband. Just make some S shapes because it's made of rope. Some of those fine folks in New Zealand who actually produced the model for this film, did a great job with the rope. So I got to try to do some sort of justice to their modeling abilities. And look at that! I broke my. I'm gonna draw just with the end of it. All right, so now that I've drawn it, I'm just going to use the side of the crayon to block it in. Okay, and then I'm going down to the beard area, and I'm just going to use a little bit of black because it's white, you know, and it brings the white out a lot. So. Okay, and now I'm just going to color in those glasses a little bit. They're yellow, so I'm just going to push really hard. Try not to break your pencil. I guarantee you it'll happen a few times. And then I'm going to just block in the cane here. So I'm just going to go real quick with that. I'm just going to block it in. And just to pop it out in front of everything, I'm just going to make it black, the outline. Even though you can, if you have at home, if you have a darker brown, go ahead and use it. Then almost last but not least, I'm going to color in some of these lines on his bandana here. Got that blue in there. We'll get some of that blue on the inside here. Okay, and then I got to draw on his mouth real quick. And then what I like to do is I like to just throw a little bit of splash of color behind him. Just to pop them out from the background of the paper. And then how I always finish it is I sign my name. Everybody should sign their name. So Joe, then you probably, for your parents, put your name, your age down, AGE. And I'm about to turn 31, so I'm just going to put 31 down. Other than that, that's pretty much how I would go about drawing, you know, this character. You can go in and throw some more yellows into things if you want to. You know, you can play around with it until you're too tired and your mom and dad tell you to go to sleep. But thanks again for coming. Thanks for drawing Abe with me. And I hope you come back next time. We're going to have other characters to draw and more fun to have. Take care and have a good day.